What is up, everybody? It is your favorite host, Grimo, Raph, and Zach, coming with you with another freaking awesome video. Today, we're going to talk about Thor, Love and Thunder, the new movie that the MCU just dropped recently, and we have a lot of thoughts, so stick around to find out more.
Let's hit the main story. What did you guys think of the actual, plot of the movie?
Zach, I think you should go first for this question.
Why you put the hard guy on this?
What would you ask it then? What would you?
No, because I wanted to just get us into it. We all have opinions about the movies. Let's just start. But why me? I have the hardest opinion, the most I don't want to say controversial, but Debbie Downer, I guess you could put it. About
I want to
the
do a
film.
mid-podcast disclaimer. Yes, we are spoiling the movie. If you have not watched it, please go watch it, and then you can come back to watch the video. I apologize for how unprofessional this podcast episode is going to be. All of us have been on vacation for a week, so we're just getting back into it again. And yeah, I'll continue. All right, go ahead, Zach.
All right. So my point of view for the film, honestly, overarching story, I didn't like it because just generally they didn't stick to any one theme, or rather, conversely, they did a bunch of things and it just didn't mesh well. I just don't feel like they had a solid plan the way they were going into this. That's more or less my take about the overarching story. I love the Jane and Thor relationship. That was great. I love Jane and Valkyrie. That was awesome. I loved Valkyrie and Thor. That was great. All of those plot points were great. I love the kids, Thor's relationship with the kids, him inspiring them. Great. Great little thing for the Asgardians and the aliens. It was awesome. But none of it felt...
Wait. What the fuck you mean about the aliens? They're not.
Bro, did you really?
They're in their own planet. You can't call them aliens. They're now
in the Guardians and Thor.
They're technically already part of. They're the first generations for them.
Yeah, fuck you, Zach. That's
Zach. That was racist.
No, I'm talking about No, because there's Asgardians, I think there's a couple of human kids, and then there's
because they're unknown, Zach, doesn't mean you get to qualify them.
Yeah, but remember, their parents had them.
Use?
Their parents had them in New Asgard, so technically, by law, they're technically American.
Bro, did you realize that they're not American, stupid?
They're not American. They're New Asgardian.
New Asgardian
which is
on Earth. Oh, it's bro. This whole time I was thinking it was in America. Everybody fucking speaks English. There's not one accent in that whole movie. I can't tell where nobody's from.
That's literally just Korg, and he's not even.
It's incorrect of you to assume that they're all from the U.S.
Yeah, fuck both of you.
All right, no. First of all, let's be honest. America.
Let's be honest.
American films.
Being called alien is worse than being called American, though.
That is true. That is true. Hey, but to be honest, most of the actors were American anyways, because filmmakers don't give a fuck about diversity.
True, but let's move on. Getting back to what I was originally saying, they just meshed a bunch of plot lines together.
Yeah,
that was my real issue with it. All of these things.
I agree.
Done in a certain way. Thank you. I appreciate somebody at least having my same, frustration with the film. All of these things taken together properly would have made an amazing film. It just feels like they chopped parts of this that would have they didn't blend them well together. That's basically it. That's honestly my whole deal. Now on to you guys.
I mean, for me,
I'm done ranting.
For me, I think this was the worst best film, if you could sort of get it. It had so many things that were just great about this, sort of the story and stuff that was happening, but it also had some stuff that was just completely terrible. The story was good, but the pacing was terrible. The characters were good, but the development was terrible. You see, there's so many things that just could have been better. It started off strong, and then it just continued to get worse as it progressed, and I didn't like that at all.
Hold up. I thought Eternals was ranked highest in our hierarchy of bad to worse films, good to worse films.
No. I said this is the worst best film. This film is good, but it's the bad one out of the good ones. You feel me?
Yeah, I know. I got you, but I want to make sure
you're saying B tier type stuff.
Yeah, this is
B
C
so
tier,
below
a B, a B minus.
B high C. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's passing, but you're disappointed that it passed.
Right. So like a Doctor Strange.
So yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. Like it's passing, but why?
Yeah.
It's passing just because I didn't throw up in the movie.
Because that is a whole nightmare.
It's passing because I wasn't as frustrated as with Batman.
It's passing because I wasn't trying to leave the theater.
Yeah, honestly, that's the only thing it has going for it. It kind of kept you wanting to like see where it ended, but it just went nowhere.
Yeah,
No, I wanted to see where it wouldn't end. Like I actually was throughout the whole movie, I was kind of like, "Yo, okay, where are we gonna go?" Like the ending's definitely not soon, right? Like I spent the entire movie trying to avoid the ending because it felt like they were rushing it too much. Like it felt like some scenes weren't dragged out, and like something should have been dragged out. Something should have been, and it definitely wasn't the comedy. First of all,
true.
Bro,
they didn't drag it enough.
I had almost the opposite reaction of you. I was like, "Oh, when is it gonna end? Like this all feels like it's driving towards some big point." And then they got to that goddamn point, and I was just like, "That's it? That's all we get?" That was the whole goddamn premise. Was just, "Oh, we're gonna go to the." Again, spoilers if you're just realizing it now. We get to the freaking eternity's like being, and they open the gate and shit, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna wish for a kid," and I'm gonna tell you something that we have no fucking clue what Jane said.
And then all of a sudden, she has the powers of eternity.
Bro,
and the kid has the powers of eternity.
No. Like, not even that.
Rip-off shit.
Not even that. Like, really? The kid technically is eternity because if you see like her
eyes,
and not just that. If you see her in the water, she had the entire universe in her silhouette. It's like the cosmic skin. It's like the cosmic skin, and it's like, bro. What the fuck was this movie? They made such a big deal about Jane Foster coming back, and then whoop, and she's gone. And then they made a whole big deal how Gore was gonna be important. Whoop, he's gone. They made a whole big deal about how fucking Doctor Strange was important to the story, and that's why they couldn't show so much in the trailer. Whoop, that was a lie. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, like oh my god. This seems to be a recurring thing with them. It's like, let's establish a plot point, but let's not actually follow through on the fucking thing. Like, I think, okay, no, I shouldn't say that. In Doctor Strange's case, they start up with him figuring out who he really is, and they end on that. Thor, I don't know where the fuck they landed with him. Like this, somebody's gonna have to explain it to me because
hold on. So I want to actually talk about my opinion of the overarching story first because I feel like we're going way off topic right now.
Let's go back to the point. I thought you already said yours. Like you were just like, yeah, nah, I don't.
Yeah,
but go on.
Yeah, but in terms of story, like if I wrote this down on a piece of paper, I think I would enjoy it. Like if you were giving me a summary of what just happened in this film, I think I would enjoy it. But in terms of like length, it feels like you're cutting. It felt like a YouTube video where the director was trying to keep the retention rate really high and try to keep it there, like just trying to make sure it's not dropping. Because every time where you have this dramatic scene where some people like try not to pay attention, they cut that out. Like it feels like they entirely cut that out of the film, and it felt very much like I was watching a 2-hour-long YouTube, like try hard YouTube video, basically.
Yeah, it was
That's
way
an interesting
too.
Way to put it.
It was way too controlled.
It was way too trying to keep that retention rate up. It was way too like. Too much of them trying to make sure you're paying attention and make sure you're having a laugh instead of like you actually paying it, like giving you the choice of paying attention. I guess.
You know what?
I felt like I was scrolling through TikTok for 2 hours, basically.
You know
Jesus
what? But
Christ.
No. But you know what? That's a fucking brilliant point because I feel like that's kind of in all of the movies we've seen. That is kind of where they're trying to go with this. They're trying to just like keep your attention span for like the moment, and then they send you off into the next plot point.
There's no time to cope
for the moment, and then they send you over.
And that's what they want. They don't want you to fucking process that atrocity that they fucking created.
Okay, well, yes, they don't want you to process it. But the problem is they shouldn't be formatting it like that to begin with.
They gave you too much time to process their shit.
It's like, all right. Look at me. I'm a fucking clown. Hey, look at him. Look at him. He's eating poop. Like what? Wait, are we gonna skip what the? Are we gonna skip?
What just happened? Are we gonna ignore that?
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid, dog. I don't even know who the fuck this film is meant for. To be honest, because All right, so let me explain something. Right, I went to watch this in VR. Right,
It was meant for childless for childless parents.
and so like I was watching it with different sets of people. Right, I was watching it with someone else who reads comics like I do. I was watching it with someone who doesn't really care for the comics, and then I was watching it with people that have no clue what the fuck a comic book is. Right, like no clue.
Wow, that's a high bar to clear.
And so
Holy
yeah,
crap,
and so the people that didn't know at all anything from the comics or like read or anything, they didn't enjoy the movie. The kid that fucking like he knows what a comic is, but he doesn't read them. He fucking loved the movie. He said it was one of his favorite movies, right? And then me and the other guy who read comics, we absolutely said this shit was not it. This was definitely not MCU level movie, and this is definitely not comic book continuity level movie. What the fuck was this? So I guess this is for people who like look at comics but don't read them. I think that's the goal.
You know what? After Endgame and like probably Far From Home, I feel like that's where Marvel knew their marketing was. They're like, this is our niche. People who are slightly into comics but don't want to go to this task of actually reading them and enjoying them. They're just like, oh, I'll get like the Reader's Digest version from the movies. Because that's who they're appealing to now completely. They don't give a fuck about the OGs who's been here since Iron Man and Avengers.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit. They just want to rake in all the interested parties. That's it.
And you know what's crazy? Listen, this is the craziest part, right? When they show the God of Thunder issue 1 suit for Thor, when he was like using different suits with Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. Well, not Mjolnir, Stormbreaker. But he's like going through different suits, and at some point he actually wears the Thor God of Thunder issue 1 suit, which is like the beginning before Gore appears. And I was the only one that was like, oh shit, in the entire movie theater.
Oh, that's how you about the ones. Were you talking about the one with like the frills, like it was like a furry like collar almost in white?
No, I'm talking about the black suit with a little bit of like the very small metallic plates on him that he literally only wears it for like less than a short, like it's like 5 to 6 seconds. It wasn't that long. It was before he got to the new suit that he wears now.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that part.
It was super short, but I was the only one in the movie theater that actually gave a fuck. I was like, oh shit, that's a comic book accurate suit. And then boom, he wears the new one. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, all you see about the comic accurate suit is just the helmet. And that's it. That's the only that's something that they want you to pay attention to.
But that's the one thing I'm going to give to Marvel, because Jane's helmet was fucking amazing. And the fact that they pull it back, like, they're not going to explain the logic behind it, but I did like how her helmet would come and go in such a way. Like, I thought that was okay. It was
you like it when it comes and goes.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Don't go off on your tangent bullshit. No, I'm saying, like, I thought that was really good for their visual effects. But they have a lot of other issues in that department. We'll get to that. But I thought that was a pretty good nod for them. Like they kept the detailing in her helmet. Like I thought those were one of the most important parts of like her suit, is the helmet and probably like the armor, especially. Yeah.
I feel like Jane's suit was just perfect, to be honest. To me, it was just perfect. It was like not over detailed or anything like that. It was just the right amount. It was like more than comic accurate. It was like more than comic accurate, but still good.
Yeah, it's still an original.
It still had that movie detail too.
Yeah. Exactly. It was an original mix with comic accuracy.
If anything was over the top, it was Thor's new suit. Like that freaking helmet. Ugh.
That is disgusting,
I don't know. Just me.
Bro.
That was funny as fuck.
Well, I loved it. Okay, no, it was just a fucking flex because he was like, "Oh, Mjolnir. Oh shit, no, it doesn't actually like me anymore. I need to show off."
Oh wait, hold on. All right. Talking about Mjolnir, can we talk about Stormbreaker actually having feelings? What the fuck is that about?
Okay, you know what? I liked it a couple of times, but then they just got to the point of overusing it. Like I loved.
It's fine if you overuse the joke if you resolve the joke.
Relationship.
It's fine if you overuse a joke if you resolve the joke. But the problem is they never fucking resolve the joke. All you kind of know is that Stormbreaker just goes off into the kid's arm. Like, and the kid is just using it now, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's like literally it. It was literally only used to open the Bifrost. Nothing else.
Okay. So
the only resolution that they give it is what was it? He just poured beer over it, and that was it.
Yeah. He's like,
yeah,
what's that, girl? You want some? You want some beer? And he pours beer on her, and then out of nowhere, Natalie Portman comes in like, what are you doing? Like, bro, what the fuck was this movie? Why is he fucking giving beer to a fucking axe? What?
Bro, and before that, he's fucking like, honestly, like massaging the lightning bolt that he snatches from Zeus, and
Like,
and then Stormbreaker gets pissed. Like that was one of the better parts, but like they did, like by that point it was a good moment, but they had ruined it by doing it too many times. Like, holy crap,
Bro,
I don't know.
At this point, Stormbreaker, just leave him.
Well, she did. What? I don't even know what to call it because Thor called Mjolnir a guy, so I don't even know what if there's pronouns or whatever the fuck on the weapons. But whatever, the act like doesn't give a shit about it anymore. Apparently.
Yeah, just give yourself up to eternity.
Apparently.
Oh yeah, because clearly she's balling with it. I don't know.
And hey,
that was so funny to me watching like this little kid carry the giant axe.
Yeah, the fucking big axe while he had the little one. It made no sense, but hey,
that was funny
fuck
as
it.
fuck.
But hey, the one coolest thing about Mjolnir is how Jane Foster used it basically like a shotgun. She was like, you see all the freaking little bits.
Yeah.
Just
That was really cool. That was like me and Ralph both looked at each other. We're like, when she did that, I think it was in the palace thing in like the Temple of the Gods, and they like she shot that shit like a shotgun, and then it came back to her all in one. Each piece lined up. I thought that was really detailed and nice. Like it was clean. It was a nice moment.
I don't know if you guys noticed.
I also liked her fight style too because
she was different.
She was like I think kind of ballet style. Like she used like it was more graceful. Like the way she like twisted and turned into fights and stuff like that. It was more like it was more graceful. It wasn't as hard. It was good that way.
It was similar
great
like
that way.
Yeah,
it was similar to Natasha and how she moves around and tries to weave between everybody.
I think it was better executed here, to be honest, because like I guess like you could just use this as an excuse because she can fly, but like Natalie Portman and Jane Foster, like it was actually like really smooth, and the slow mo scenes of that were really nice. Like that slow mo scene where Mjolnir like breaks apart and then comes back and like while she's still holding it, that was awesome.
Yeah,
like hands down, if I didn't see that from the trailer, that would have probably been like the best thing from the movie.
You saw that in the trailer? I didn't see that.
That was in the trailer, yeah.
No, there was a part where she throws the parts, the pieces of the hammer, but she doesn't come back. Like it doesn't come back.
No, I meant like when she throws it out. So when she throws it out, like she does a flip, I think, and she throws it out and it separates, but she's still in like that graceful pose, and then it comes back. That's it. They didn't finish it, but they showed at least the grace for the trailer. It was great that way. I think Valkyrie had like Valkyrie, whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna correct you. I wouldn't correct you if it was the streamer, but no, I'm gonna correct you in this capacity. Go on. Sorry.
But yeah, Valkyrie had like pretty. I feel like she had a minuscule part in this movie.
She did, but for me, maybe I'm the odd man out here. I liked her role. She was probably the best supporting character throughout the whole movie. Like better than Korg, which was surprising because all of last Thor movie, all of Ragnarok was basically him just like supporting Thor through the issues that he had to go through. This felt like Valkyrie was dealing with that shit now.
Yeah. I feel like her role was more of like it was really just this drunk mayor type shit.
Yeah, but she
wasn't drinking that much. She was actually taking care of.
She's just depressed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But what's it called? No, I just feel like they sidelined everybody too hard on this film. Like,
example, like if you think, how do you nerf Korg even more? You take everything but his face, and you take every quality but the part where he talks.
The worst part is he said like, apparently, my kind survives as long as the mouth is okay and whatever. Let's be honest, that was only reference that the character is so shit that you only really need his humor.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to admit it, but they just shoehorned that one in, like, completely. There's no other way to call it.
It's just, it had so many great parts and then so many that were disappointing. Like, Gore, he lasted just as equal as the fucking Guardians. Like the scene was like I was talking this with Washverse and he mentioned that and I could never unsee it. He's just like, Yeah, it's not much longer than the Guardian scenes, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you're thinking about it in
he only had
screen
like
time, it's not
3
that
or 4.
different.
He only had 3 or 4 scenes. And then that's including his introduction scene.
Yep. And his intro, oh my god. If you guys watched our comic dubbing, right? If you watch that, you don't even have to read the book. We read it for you. If you watch our comic dubbing and then you watch the initial scene for Love and Thunder, you will see that Gore got his fucking storyline fucked in the ass. He actually got butchered.
I feel like it was better this way though. Like I feel like they definitely took the easier route, but it wasn't terrible because
no, but it took away from Gore.
No,
if you have this, if you have this,
with the both of no, hang on, I'm going to disagree with the both of you. I'm going to say it's not better or worse. It's more MCU. This storyline was way more MCU than either the comic or I don't know, some mesh of the two.
That's what I was saying. I'm just saying like I'm saying it's definitely MCU-fied, but it's like it's a lot easier without having to introduce all of these characters like from Gore's backstory. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but
like if you're excusing it, you're just giving the thing about Gore's character from the comics is that he's already he's already kind of an atheist when it happened, like when like these traumatizing things happen to him. He's already not believing the gods that believing that the gods will not save them. He's already having that anger like Butcher did from the boys. He already has that in him. He's already angry and upset. That's why he's much more of a gory character. That's why he's becomes brutal in the comics. That's why he's a lot more torturous. But in the MCU, he's not like that at all. He's just the gods have failed him. Yeah, and that's why he wants to fail. Like he wants to kill all the gods.
Yeah, but all right. Let me give you emotional value, right? With Butcher, right? When he hates the soups, eventually in the show you get to see why, and he has great reasons as to why, right? But with Gore here, the fact that he believes in the god and they failed him once, quite literally once. There's no real development from him believing to him wanting to slay every single god. There's not enough emotional connection or value for him as a character. It basically...
It doesn't, you're right. But it's like a different point. It's a different point because a big point that they made in the movie was that the Necron sword, I think that's what it's called?
The Necro
sword. The Necro sword was the one giving him that idea. It chose him because of his pain, not because of his anguish. And they made that a big point in the movie.
Yeah, but I just feel like that's lazy writing more than anything. It's the same thing that they did in Doctor Strange. Literally the exact same thing. They just said that the book corrupts people. Instead of making characters evil and unredeemable, they give them an excuse. And I don't want an excuse. I want the character to be the exact character. And not only that, if they would have given more about how good Gore was, like if they showed him trying to save his wife, if they showed him with his mom and trying to feed him and his mother, then you would almost understand at the end when he dies, oh, he was actually a good person. But he just he's a character. He gets corrupted. Everybody hates him. And out of nowhere, he entrusts his daughter to Thor, the guy that was basically killed them. What?
It was a lot easier. It was a lot easier, to write, especially because if you think about it, if you did all that stuff, if you did all of that from the beginning, you introduced his wife and his son, him enjoying happy times with them, then you'd have no excuse to bring about eternity, and to bring about you'd basically be flawed from this. It would just be this one. It would be this one-sided character, which is fine. But in terms of results, there's no. It was too much of a losing scenario.
I honestly feel like
too much of an unfair fight.
I honestly feel like they shouldn't have brought eternity at all.
I feel like it was pointless. Yeah, I feel not pointless, but I feel like it was
misused.
They pulled that out of her ass.
It was random. It shouldn't have. If anything, what I think they should have done is have a movie for Jane Foster, because they did an amazing development for her. Have a movie for her and show her while Thor is doing shit with the Asgardians, and then develop Gore and make him a big bad. Not make him whatever this. He basically was Ultron. He was here, strong and proud for only one movie and then gone. And
It
they
felt
wasted
exactly
Yeah,
and
that's
they
accurate.
and they wasted the fuck out of Ultron. Now they wasted the fuck out of Gore. No, you could do new trilogies, especially since you have no future right now, MCU. Make sure you use your cards right. Make sure you use them right, because right now everything is going all over the place. You're gonna
they're
end up
using
like
them
That's very
Netflix.
true.
You're gonna end up
That's very true.
exactly like Netflix. Netflix did that shit. They started pulling random shows and shit out of their ass, and they lost 200,000 plus subscribers. Don't do that. Don't do that. Make something. Make something you want to continue, even if it's not for the main MCU, for a character. Exactly. Save a character, because that shit was absolutely atrocious. They butchered my Gore. They fucking rushed. If you know what this movie felt like, it felt like Luis from Ant-Man telling me a story that he doesn't have enough information about, so he's just making up facts as he goes. That's what it felt like.
You know what? That's honestly accurate. But like, the worst part of it is they're just running. They're not grounded. Like that's the worst part. You can tell that they're doing exactly what you just said, letting Netflix, where Netflix just throws things out there and says, oh, I hope it sticks. That's what Marvel's doing. And like, you have one or two exceptions where it's like, okay, you guys don't agree with me, but Black Widow was okay. It was too many years too fucking late, but it was okay. And Shang-Chi, amazing film. Like those are exceptions to this. The rest of these things are not.
Black Widow's not a bad movie. Like Black Widow's not a. It's not a bad movie. It's just not a movie.
It could have been.
It could have
been a Disney.
It could have been like a 2-episode. It could have been a 2-episode Disney Plus series.
Oh no, it could have been a little longer. Like they could have added more and just made it a little longer and just make it a Disney Plus show. But also, not just that. Like Shang-Chi is super underrated. So it's technically an L, because the movie's great, but people don't appreciate it. Nobody knows the character, especially since most people don't even read a comic. So it's like nobody knows the character. Let's be honest. Asian people get super discriminated, and then that shit slides off because they're just Asian Americans or Asian people. Who cares? No, like that's not right. But people still brush them off, and it's not a real W, because it doesn't have the praise it deserves. And then you have movies like this, like Love and Thunder, that, let's be honest, that shit was lazy writing and a lot of bullshit comedy, only because, it'll make people be like, oh, yo, this movie has Thor, it has Thor. Shut the fuck up, bro. Make something good.
The main reason that Ragnarok basically did the same thing. But the reason that Ragnarok was a lot better than this was because it already had that grounding. Like, it already had the foundation of Loki being there. It already the fact of, like, Hela, because she was laid in the background of their origin, because you already have that emotional impact, like enough emotional impact from Odin dying. Like, you have all of that complications that make the story more grounded and better. It's funny at times, but it's serious in more than half of the movie.
Yeah,
and this one, it's like there's like no seriousness. Like, it really feels like nobody took any shit seriously.
Bro, like, even when Lady Sif was gonna die, he's like, oh, you can't die yet because, you didn't die in battle.
It's like,
shit. It didn't even make you feel like she could have died. It's just, oh, shit, I gotta stay alive. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, dude, I feel like the way Taika approached this, he was just like, okay, I left him off at here in Ragnarok. I'm going to just pick it right back up where I left off. I'm like, did Endgame not happen? Did, like, Infinity War, Endgame, and did none of that happen? And also, they don't fill in the time between Endgame and this movie at all. Like, Korg just, like, glosses over that shit so easily. Was I the only one that picked that up? Like, they're walking through with fire, all badass and shit, but that doesn't tell you anything of where they've been or what they've been doing.
The funny thing about this movie, though, is that, like, you hear all these stories about, like, self-help, like, how people cope through grief and whatever. Like, you hear all of that stuff, and if this feels exactly like this movie felt exactly like someone saying, "Oh, I tried it, fuck it."
Yeah,
that's it.
Basically,
like there's no journey involved. Like, you didn't actually take it seriously and dive deep into your problems. You literally just went through the motions and just hope for the best. And it just didn't sit right, because like it felt like that through the entire movie. It's like, oh, is this like, this is not what like emotional improvement or like personal progression feels like. Like, there's in no shape or form that's how it's supposed to be. It's way too It's just not as serious as I would have
It's
liked
not
it.
learning. It's not learning. The characters
Yeah,
didn't learn anything because he went through an entire depression, right? He his whole life turned upside down, and obviously Ragnarok shows the same Thor that we see now, but it's not the same Thor.
like
He
no offense,
he
but
had
you're
a
telling me,
he,
like no offense, but you're telling me that he has all of this grief. Like he lost like his best friend, his brother, twice. He lost his sister that he never knew he had. He lost his father. You're telling me he lost all of these people, and he's still hung up about his ex like from 8 years ago,
no, and not just that, and
and
fucking
that's his biggest gripe.
no, and not just that. He also lost his entire like nation.
Yeah,
Asgard.
exactly.
He saw Asgard before him get destroyed, and it's like, yeah. So really, you're still gonna be this goofy, silly character who doesn't want to learn. Like you're 1,000 years old. You should be learning by now.
Like what's cool about
If anybody should evolve, it's fucking you.
Yeah, like what's cool about Ragnarok and like his character development there was that he found his purpose in his kingdom. Like he found his purpose within his people. Like it wasn't just some like self-discovery shit where he was only doing things because he wanted to feel good or anything like that. It was like he found like he was tied to a purpose and he tried to fulfill it. It didn't last very long. People got obliterated, but I mean like it's still he found purpose and he found it and he took it seriously there.
Yeah.
In this movie, it wasn't like that at all. It feels like they squeezed the dad thing out there for no apparent reason. Like it was just kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and they like, oh my God,
I do have
this.
to admit though, there are moments in this movie that are really funny, like that are hilarious. Like you will have a like from the average viewer, I feel like you will have a good time like watching this
Yeah,
movie.
for
I
people. All right.
think
So
Yeah,
for
like
people
I
who
had a good
enjoy the
time.
MCU and don't read comics or don't want to care for it, like this movie's for you. Like I said, like just knowing that it exists and watching all the MCU films, you are gonna love this film. But for us who know the quality the MCU could give us, that know what the quality of the comics already are,
like for people with
yeah,
high expectations, like we are
this is
disappointed.
yeah, this is like, come on, man, like this is barely passing. You could do better than this.
So, do you guys think that this is their method, or do you just think that they're in a weird, like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, rut? Like they're stuck in like this in
We'll dive
between phase, or do you think that this is their plan? This is like what
Yeah,
they're gonna do.
let's talk about the MCU controversy right now because that's actually like that's a big topic right
Can
now.
I begin? I kind of love
You,
Oh,
this.
go
you should
ahead.
begin. Yeah, go ahead.
I
All
stepped
right.
in it. Might as well talk
So,
about it.
right, for the first few phases, the first phase, obviously, it wasn't trying to connect the big universe. It was just trying to bring light to characters. And that's what it was. And then eventually with phase 2 and phase 3, that's when they started to realize, oh shit, we could create a universe. And so that's what they started doing. Now, with this phase, I feel like the problem is that they're trying to do so many multiverse stuff, but not even touch the multiverse. Because, for example, Moon Knight could have been done in one of the multiverses reality. So could have Eternals, and they would have made more sense if they did it that way. The fights between Giant Khonshu and I forgot her name, but the giant crocodile lady
Ahmet.
and Amit. Thank you. Like the fight between Khonshu and Amit, that could have flied by it in a different part of the multiverse because there's no other heroes. That's okay, fine. It's part of a different multiverse. Shit works completely different over there. Who cares? The show would have been better. Eternals, if they would have done that in a different multiverse and like worked better the way they actually did the pacing and the flashbacks, that could have been part of its own multiverse. That would have been better. Because a big ass hands appear, like there's a fucking celestial coming out of Earth and you don't see any heroes or anything. It makes no
You're
sense.
telling me no one understands that there's a giant hand and a head out, like half a head out there?
Exactly. But if it was part of another part of the multiverse, that would have been so much better. Because again, it's the multiverse. There's no other heroes in another part. Or maybe there are, maybe they're just different. But it's part of the multiverse. So they're giving us this concept of the multiverse, but they're fucking up their main continuity. And what I think they should have done is focus on expressing the multiverse, saying, oh, this is from this universe. Maybe this is 623. It's close to 616, but it's not. And this is 1000. And think if they would have expressed those different movies that they're doing now as part of the multiverse,
I
they
would have
could
set
have
up Secret
saved
Wars a lot better.
they could have saved an actual spot for them to do movies that connect. So if you want to watch movies that don't connect, if you want to have a break, if you want to have your own moment, you go watch the multiverse movies. But then if you want to be like us who want to continue the main story, you can watch those movies. That way you resolve two birds with one stone. However, they're too focused on doing phase one again, where they're just introducing characters and stuff like that just for fuck's sake. But the problem is they forget that there's an already established universe. So when you already have an established universe and you start adding up these things that kind of don't make sense, you start to create this sense of disconnection. And you can have that after the fucking years of work that they did for these movies to be connected in the first place. It feels like they're walking backwards now. And that's what ruins the MCU for me right now.
I agree with you, but I think in one aspect you take it a step too far, just purely because of like how they should go about like broadening our view of the MCU. Like you said, from building characters to now we are going into the multiverse of multiple characters, but different versions of them. I think that they jumped the gun on that, and it's just they should have gone. They did Heroes of Earth. Now they need to do Heroes of Earth working with dealing with the in universe because they know it exists. They know there's other civilizations, life forms, just things in their universe that react with them and deal with that. Like they haven't touched Nova Corps or like genuinely like gone through that. They haven't touched the Shi'ar Empire. They haven't touched
literally the decimation of Xandar happened, and no one's talking about it.
No one's talked about that. That's just like forget about that. You know, you don't need to worry about it. It'll come back. Whatever. What the hell is that? There's the freaking Skrull Empire. There's the Kree Empire. There are so many power players in that universe to talk about. The Guardians, sure, you don't have to make it just them, but make bigger stories. Have them tie back to Earth.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Again, they should make movies for things that continue the main story. Imagine, all right, let me give you a scenario. Imagine that Endgame.
There's no Young Avengers film. This is gonna be so pointless.
No, but listen. Right?
I mean,
imagine
I don't know how they
like New Avengers, whatever.
Film that's necessary. Like, because exactly what Grim said. There's no need for it. You're just furthering independent stories. There's no main storyline.
Yeah, like, listen.
There's
right?
no Loki to bring you all back.
So listen to this, right? Imagine if they ended with Endgame, right? And then they did the shows, but instead of continuing to like these random ass movie or like mini shows or movies, they should have continued with, for example, like Doctor Strange and explained the multiverse. Once the multiverse opened, then they could have the little films and shows that are from across the multiverse and continue from heroes such as Nova, Beta Ray Bill, like characters that we need. You know what I'm saying? So it just, I felt like they could have done everything better and they just decided to be lazy about it.
Yeah, I really had hope.
I want to explain the entire thing. It's exactly the same. Like the entire after watching Multiverse of Madness, I still need to do my rant about that. But after watching that movie, I knew what the plan is from now on. Like you kind of set like from the movie that was hyped up to set the tone for the future of the MCU. It was dog shit. Like it was absolute. Like I hated every minute of it. Like except for the part where the Illuminati like got slaughtered, but that's it. But for the entire formula is exactly the same. It was kind of like oh, directors have too much free will, and I feel like Taika Waititi even said it during an interview. He's like, yeah, directors should be pulled back a couple times. Like they should be pulled back, and I kind of agree with that because now like you kind of see the MCU is pulling the same shit out of their ass. They're pulling this like they've literally pulled the same shit twice, like 2 movies in a row, where they have this sentient or like where they have this thing where this object where you can get whatever you wanted. Like where the villains or hero could get whatever they wanted to accomplish their goal, and then it gets like either fucking destroyed or used really quickly. Like it's happened twice. Like as an objective, it creates this need for them to just chase, and it's just dog shit. Like
yeah, they're not doing cohesive storylines. They're doing single shot Like just
It's not even
they're
that.
almost
It's not
doing what
even.
ifs. They're almost doing what ifs of a one shot comic. That's
It's not
almost what they're
even.
trying to do.
I'm not even mad about the fact that they're not connecting the MCU to the MCU. Like I'm not even mad about that because I'm not expecting that yet from them, especially after watching Multiverse of Madness where that should have connected to the rest of it. I'm upset about that. But yeah, I'm more upset about the individuality of films because like even individually these films aren't good. Like these aren't great because Multiverse of Madness could have been a lot better. Like it was it was Sam Raimi's playground and he just fucking played for 3 hours, like for 2 hours. Like he
No, not
actually
even.
like
He was an hour and some odd minutes. It wasn't
no, it
even
was an
that
hour
long.
50. It was an hour 59.
Oh, I don't count that. Half that time is like closing and like the end credits. So technically, to me, it's like an hour and 30. And that's even what's even more. Why is a movie as big? Like not to make it about Doctor Strange, but why is just for the main point? Why is a Doctor Strange movie that deals with such big ramifications of their universe only an hour and freaking 30, like 50
Back to
minutes?
Thor.
Why is it that?
Back to Thor. You
Yeah,
need like
exactly.
back to Thor. It's following like the same shitty formula where their visuals are getting like the visuals are getting worse. Like I don't need to prove it anymore. Like you can kind of just see it. Camera work. At least Taika Waititi had better camera work here. Like
Well,
in Multiverse of Madness. Sam Raimi didn't know shit. Sam Raimi was he didn't know shit about CGI. Like or
well,
what
because
would make CGI appealing. Zach, shut up. So for Thor specifically, the film and the pacing like didn't match up at all. It was way too like they're applying themselves way too much to just a quick and over with type thing. They're following too much the trend of let's not make a story or make a movie. Let's just make this project. Like they're blending the lines between series and movie way too far now. Like it feels like they're kind of writing it out, seeing what could be a film, what could be what could be a movie, what could be a series, and then they're just picking and choosing from there. Like it's kind of like flipping a coin almost. Because this honestly felt like a shitty Disney Plus. Like this felt like a shitty. This felt like Moon Knight, to be honest, for me. Like this actually felt like how I was watching Moon Knight, where at first you kind of take it a little bit seriously, but then like as you're watching, you're kind of like, oh, this is dog shit. Like
Yeah,
I don't really want to watch this
yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
Like it felt exactly like the same. It felt the same thing. Like it felt like they wrote it the exact same way, and it's not like it's a one time thing. It's a pattern. It's not. It's like they're following a formula, and that formula is like it's just weighing them down. It's not good. They need to change it up because it's. I'm honestly really disappointed. And the next movie already has like really is already like a big risk, like Black Panther 2. So I'm looking forward to that movie, but I feel like a lot of shit has happened to that movie where it's been really difficult to be like really optimistic about that movie.
yeah, a lot's writing on that specific film for many different reasons
For
altogether.
Thor personally, I wouldn't rate it too high because I personally did enjoy the film because I was like I watched it as like an average viewer. I liked it as like I'd rate it probably like a 7.5 because I did find a lot of the comedic moments really funny. Like I laughed my ass off on some of them. Like I found some of the story like really like kind of just a quick like I felt like a comic book where I just flipped the page and something like some other shit happened. Like it really felt like I flipped the page and then something new just came out of nowhere. And I didn't really like that. I like my story track out a little bit, but I would rate it like a 7.5. What about you guys? I want to hear from Zach first, actually.
I, initially I wanted to give it like a 7.5, but now after just it's I let Multiverse of Madness go because it had a core thing to it. Like it started and ended like it created a resolution basically for Doctor Strange. But Thor, I feel like he went nowhere in this. Like he resolved something that was never even, well, granted it was never brought up, but like it was never a thing for him
Yeah, I
in
feel like they were
all
kind
his
of
past
dodging the problem
movies.
the entire time. Like it
Yeah,
felt
like
like
it
they were
didn't
dodging all
resolve
of his
anything.
grief.
Exactly. Like he does his grief. We get this whole not triangle, but like romantic relationship that's going on for him, and he's
And it
trying
ends
to
within
like
like the
find
same. It
somebody.
starts and ends within the same week.
Exactly. Like there's nothing. Well, I mean that's how all MCU films are, but the thing doesn't change. Like there's no growth for him at all. At least none that I picked up on, and he's just back to like post Endgame. Like he's just except now he looks great as opposed to looking like a dad bod, like Korg put it. So yeah, I'd put it a 6.5 after thinking it, after thinking over what it actually did. Like, there's no growth from this. Sure, the comedy's fun. We get Gore, who's sort of okay. I personally didn't like this interpretation a lot. Christian Bale was doing his all to give it a win, but like, it just wasn't a good Gore, the God Butcher emphasis on it. Like,
just for more context, Gore had a lot. Like, in an interview, Christian Bale even said he was not really happy with the theatrical release of the film because he knows he filmed a lot more scenes with Gore as a character, and they didn't make the cut, which is unfortunate because Gore's character is like, he's very dramatic, and it would have added a lot more to his character. Because from what we've seen of Christian Bale in this film, he was fantastic. Like, I loved his performance in this. Like, his acting was really good. I wish we saw more of him, but they just cut it.
But that's the funny thing.
It would have added more seriousness, and I don't think that's what they wanted.
Like, Ragnarok had that moment when Thor is being all funny and like confronting Surtur in whatever that planet is, I don't remember. But he's like being all this comedic guy, and Surtur's all like intimidating and serious and pissed off. And Thor's cracking jokes, and it's funny. Like, that should have been the dynamic here, just, bigger because of Gore.
Grim, what do you think? What is your rating of the film?
As much as I'm still thinking about it, it's hard to rate it because there's so many things that are high up in quality, and then so many things that are just shit. I kind of want to give it a 5, keep it in the middle. Maybe give it a 6 because it'll be closer to a little bit of passing, but still kind of mediocre. Because it just could have been so much better. They had great actors, great characters, great fucking storylines that they could have followed. They even had the fucking gods. They had each and every god to ever exist. They had them there, and somehow they messed that up. So I guess I gotta give it.
Yeah, they were definitely underused, man. Like
yeah,
I forgot they were in the movie.
Yeah, like
I forgot they were in the movie. I genuinely forgot.
Like they had the perfect recipe, and they just burned the cooking.
Oh yeah, Hercules is in now.
Oh yeah.
Don't let me talk about Hercules. I'm gonna rant for a whole other hour.
Hercules is canon.
Yeah, he's canon, but are we happy that he's canon? Like, I like that for the story, but based on this movie,
love it. I absolutely love it. Grim, why don't you talk about? No, I'm kidding.
Do you want me to rant?
He's gonna be here all day.
No, we'll talk about it next time.
We'll
talk about it next time. That'll be so fun. You said you'd rate it like a 6. At best. At
best, yeah. The max I'd give it is a 6.
Same.
I agree because I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed watching it. I didn't enjoy thinking about it. Like, it hurt my brain to critique it. It felt like, okay, I'm gonna go on for a while here.
I kind of want to give it less, but I can't argue with that. Some of the stuff was
some were really good.
Like, for example, the whole scene where they see Faligar. That was beautiful. I cannot be mad at that. But then we had the scene with Lady Sif, and it's like, what?
It's like 2 seconds later, it's Lady Sif dying, and you're just like, oh, I'm so sorry, you're not going to Valhalla. You're actually not dying. You have to die in the battle.
And so it's just, again, it's just so many things that are good, so many things that are bad, and it's just, no.
That's a fair rating.
It is. I feel like it's one of those things that the closer you look at it, the worse it gets. Like, we can't stare too closely at this thing, or otherwise we're like, oh, fuck, what the hell did I just waste 2 hours watching?
Yeah, I feel like all of us should do a rant video now.
This is all I need to say because the movie speaks for itself on how it messed up.
I think we got to everything that we wanted to talk about. I think we should end it.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Sorry that this is another...
Sorry, this is the most random, unprofessional video, podcast, whatever.
Yeah, and
this is so weird.
For a very
this is so weird, but it was...
movie. I think we can call it that. Random for an unprofessional movie.
We followed their format.
And you can tell us if we're good or not based on this.
Yep, we copy.
It's like if you like this video, you'll probably like Thor.
Go watch Thor, right? If you like this video, go watch Thor right now. If you didn't like it, then you will not.
Then you know how we feel.
Yeah, exactly how we feel.
You know how we feel.
At that point, don't even dislike. You gotta give us a like because we gave you the movie without you having to watch it.
Yeah.
All right, but thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody who sticked around and everything. We shall do some giveaways. If you stick around to this part, you will know that we'll do a giveaway soon. I'm planning on doing a giveaway, and I'll let you guys know in a month or so when we do one of our little projects that we have in store for you guys. See you on the next video.